This is the kind of news that really hurts, because it hits the Ravens exactly where it hurts most. Protecting Lamar Jackson. Right at the beginning of the Jesse Minter era, Baltimore is facing a very real risk of losing Tyler Linderbaum, the guy who runs the offensive line, keeps everything organized, and calms the chaos before the ball is even snapped. And when there's uncertainty at center, the entire offense starts to shake. The scary part is that this situation isn't frozen in time. The market is moving. The Giants are paying close attention, and Linderbaum has become one of the hottest names in free agency. If he walks, it's not just one player leaving. It's stability, it's security, and it's the immediate future of the offense on the line. And understanding why this possible loss could change everything in Baltimore is exactly why you need to stay until the end. Jesse Minter barely sat down in the head coach's chair and was immediately dropped into a no margin for error situation. This is a decision that can wait until the draft or the middle of the offseason. It's urgent, it's massive, and it goes straight to the core of the team. Before schemes, play calls, or offensive identity, there's one quiet question hanging in the building. Who's going to keep Lamar Jackson protected? When you really look at the roster, it becomes obvious that not all decisions carry the same weight. Some moves hurt, but you can manage them. Others shake the foundation. And this is absolutely one of those. The offensive line is Lamar's shield, and when that shield cracks, everything falls apart fast. The offense loses rhythm. The quarterback takes unnecessary hits, and the season turns into survival mode. That's why this choice goes way beyond cap numbers or long-term planning. It's about sending a clear message to the locker room and to Lamar himself that we've got your back. Minter knows there's no such thing as a creative offense if the quarterback doesn't have time to breathe. Without real protection, even the best plans fall apart. And this is where the story starts to get even more tense. Because in the middle of this massive decision, there's one specific name that completely changes the equation, a young, dominant player who might simply not be in Baltimore next season. He's the reason the situation feels urgent and dangerous at the same time. Once theory turns into reality, that name comes up immediately. Tyler Linderbaum. He's not just another offensive lineman. He's a center who sets protections, makes adjustments, and keeps the offense functional even when things start breaking down. Losing a player like that isn't something you just shrug off. The problem is simple. There's still no deal. And in the NFL, when time keeps moving and a contract doesn't get done, the rest of the league starts whispering. Teams watch, evaluate, and get ready to pounce. Linderbaum is now firmly in that dangerous free agency zone where young talent and elite production are priceless. That's why analysts are already placing him at the very top of the list of most desirable offensive linemen available. And that completely changes the game for Baltimore. This isn't just an internal debate about money anymore. It's an open fight with the rest of the league. And if you hesitate, you lose. Once outside interest becomes real, the threat stops being hypothetical. Because we're not talking about just any destination. There's one specific team watching closely, with a clear plan and a connection that makes this scenario even more realistic. New York isn't part of this conversation by accident. The Giants know exactly the type of player they'd be getting, because they understand the culture that comes out of Baltimore. There's confidence that players developed in that environment arrive ready, professional, and adaptable, which makes Linderbaum an even more obvious target. The connection to John Harbaugh matters a lot here. He knows who Linderbaum is on and off the field. He knows how he works, how he prepares, and the quiet impact he has inside a locker room. That kind of knowledge lowers risk and makes teams far more willing to spend big. When a team doesn't have to guess on a player, but instead just confirm what it already knows, the conversation changes. Interest turns into a plan. And that's exactly how this situation can spiral out of control for the Ravens if they don't act fast. At that point, it's no longer just about losing a good player. It's about handing another team a ready-made, in his prime piece that can reshape an entire offense. And that brings us to the most sensitive part of this whole story.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video. But before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Linderbaum isn't valued just because of potential. He delivers on the field week after week. Last season's numbers make that crystal clear. Top 5 production at his position, almost no pressure allowed, and a level of consistency that very few players reach this early in their careers. At just 25 years old, he already has 3 Pro Bowls and plays like a seasoned veteran. That combination is something teams spend years trying to find in the draft. And when they finally do, they do everything they can to keep it. Letting that walk isn't strategy. It's accepting a clear step backward. The hardest part is knowing there's no simple plan B. Centers like this don't just appear. Replacing Linderbaum immediately lowers the ceiling of the offensive line, even if the replacement is solid. The gap between good and elite shows up when games matter most. And when you combine that possible loss with the current state of the Ravens' offensive line, the alarm gets even louder. This unit isn't as young as it used to be, and the margin for error keeps shrinking. The reality is straightforward. Lamar Jackson needs protection. After a season filled with injuries, patchwork solutions, and inconsistency up front, the last thing Baltimore can afford is to weaken this area even more. Key players are getting older, and reliability is no longer guaranteed. Linderbaum understands this better than anyone because he lived it on the field. He saw teammates playing hurt, positions rotating, and adjustments being made at the limit. And still, he held the middle together and kept the offense functional whenever possible. Yes, the contract will be expensive, somewhere in the $17 to $18 million per year range. But that price needs context. This isn't just paying a center. It's investing in the franchise quarterback's longevity, offensive stability, and the credibility of the new coaching staff. If the Ravens fail to make this move, the issue won't just be losing an elite player. It will be opening a massive question mark about the future of the offense and the direction this new era truly plans to take. The possible goodbye of Tyler Linderbaum isn't just another offseason storyline. It's a real test for the Ravens' new era. Jesse Minter arrives with the job of giving this team identity, stability, and direction, and very few decisions say more than choosing whether or not to protect the franchise quarterback. When a young, dominant, proven center is surrounded by uncertainty, the impact goes far beyond the offensive line. Baltimore can try to find alternatives, shuffle pieces, or trust internal options, but the NFL is unforgiving. Players like Linderbaum don't come around easily, especially not ones who are ready, consistent, and in their physical prime. Letting him go means accepting more risk for Lamar Jackson, more instability on offense, and a much thinner margin for error for a team that's already lived through too much chaos up front. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Ravens should do whatever it takes to keep Tyler Linderbaum, even if it means paying top dollar? Or do you believe the team can move forward without him? Drop your take in the comments, because this decision could define a lot more than just next season.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.